Well, this document wasn't important to Satena. So, but Menai sent a letter to Satena, and they made up they told Satena 2 lies. That it's a false document, which I contend and we contend is not a false document. It's something they relied upon to issue the permit. 2 lies told to Satena. I just want to show you, again, what I explained to the prosecutor. I said, I want to tell you why I don't think this is a false document. And I said, look at this letter, report of all these documents that Menai has in their file. The first document here. It's the document that they said is false. What's the false document doing in their files? If there's kind of information and email addresses and names we would know nothing about. When I gave my statement to the prosecutor, here's what he told me. He says, I'm not going to follow that up because I have no way to prove you had anything to do with that document. I said, fine, but I want to explain that because it's an insinuation that I had something to do with that document. I had nothing to do with it. And do words have meaning? The prosecutor's words. I am not going to follow that up. I have no way to prove you had anything to do with that. Do words have meaning? Well, you know what happens? When he files the charges against me, after I showed him all this stuff, I think it was in October, November, I'm not sure when. Lo and behold, he charges me with the false document. Against what he told me he was going to do. And then what does he do? In June 19th, at the preliminary hearing, he dismisses the charge. And you know what he says? I have no way to prove Mr. Aven had anything to do with that document. Judge, what's going on here? In most countries in the West, democratic countries where they observe the rule of law, the rules. Here's what happens. Here's what I understand. A prosecutor has suspicion a crime has been committed. Fine, it happens all the time. That's his job. But before you charge somebody with a crime, You're supposed to investigate very carefully to make sure that that person is guilty, that you can prove it in court. In court right now. So, you're not supposed to charge somebody with a crime, then try to find evidence. That's not the way it was supposed to work. What's to happen is, you develop your evidence, overwhelming evidence, that you can prove a person committed a crime, then you charge it. You don't charge people with crimes and then try to figure out if they committed it. This is exactly what happened. And what makes it worse is, he told me, when I gave my I'm not going to charge you with it. I have no way to prove you had anything to do with it. What's going on here? No idea. So, anyway, said all that to say this. We object to Picardo's claim about this being a false document. And based upon Picardo's letter, and probably the actions of the prosecutor where he filed this charge against us for a false document, Santana takes it up. They initially believe them, right? Because, you know, you want to believe your brother, right? Santana and Manai are like brothers, you know. You want to believe your brother. They sent us a shutdown. They sent us a shutdown notice. They suspended the permit. Based upon the false charges. They came out of the prosecutor's office, and it was written by Picardo. And we said, hold it. This is not the document you relied upon. We showed him the document you relied upon. I showed it to you earlier. So they write a resolution, explain everything thoroughly, and they reinstate it. And they reconfirm the permit. And this is at the same time. This was in November. This was in November, and it was at the same time the prosecutor's filing his charges against him. Now, again, Santana knew about all these charges, but they reconfirm and revalidate their permit. "33 pages, 19 witnesses. He called 10. He called 10 witnesses. Yep. He wanted to call more. He denied that rightfully. But I just want to go over the testimony of these witnesses. I want to show the court. This is what the prosecutor said the witnesses were going to say. In his accusation, do words have meaning? Did he say what the prosecutor said he was going to say? There it is. No. That was supposed to say about implicate Aven. Did he give that testimony? No. Francisco is he supposed to say, I told him to dig a canal? Did he say that? No, he didn't say that. Buccellato. Well, we all heard Buccellato. And Buccellato, under oath, first of all, he said, I have personal interest in this. When you asked him the question. We heard Buccellato admit 2 crimes. First crime, he was asked, how do you know there's all this stuff going on in the I go on the property every night. I take the animals. Remember that? 2 crimes, trespass and theft. Recorded. You're going to take it up and make a good case on it. Orlando Manfredi. Here's what he said. Now, Judge, please read this. I've showed that to about a dozen people. And I said, would you explain that to me? Because first part says he's going to talk about the non-existence of wetlands. Part says he's going to talk about why there's wetlands. Does this make any sense to you? Nobody can figure it out. Did he talk about this? No. Did the prosecutor ask him any questions about that? It's in his accusation. It's not from me. It's from him. What did he talk about? He talks about another report he did that's not into evidence. I don't know if the prosecutor has it, but we don't have that report. This is a criminal trial. This is a government agency. If he has a report that bears on our case, they have a duty to turn it over to us, turn it over to the court, give it to somebody. When he's sitting in this chair, he's talking about that report that we don't have. Why didn't he bring it with him? Where is that report? We don't know. But he didn't know about this. Monica Vargas. Here's what she was supposed to say. Did she say that? Did she implicate me? Did she talk about wetlands? What did she say? I never went on the property. Do you know David Aven? Do you see David Aven there? No, I saw him at the Muni. Did you talk to any neighbors? No? Just Mr. Bucciolato? Anybody come complaining down at the Muni about the project? Mr. Bucciolato? So, did she provide the testimony the prosecutor said she was going to provide? Obvious, no. Next one. Now, this is a very interesting. Here's what Mr. Solano is supposed to testify about. And when he was asked, these are the prosecutor's witnesses, Your Honor. They're his witnesses. He was asked about wetlands. No, there's no wetlands in that area. It's a farm. How about forest? Is it forest? No, there's no forest. It's just, going on significant trees. In fact, with wetlands, no. Look, my cousin. He talks about his cousin's daughter. The 93 homes in the lowest part of the property that used to be part of this finca. You know where that was? Right here. Right in this area. So how did 93 homes get built in the lowest part of the wetland? Good question, isn't it? So did Mr. Solano give his testimony? No. Now, the next witness, I believe this person was the guy from Satana, I'm sorry. The tree guy, right? Well, did he talk about, did he give any damaging testimony? Did he say this? What I heard him say was, only small trees were cut down. He was asked, were they new or old cuttings? He said, did he get a testimony?
Disculpe.
This is Mr. Gamboa. Now, Mr. Gamboa was the wetlands expert. They called. Well, Mr. Gamboa, under statement was this, if you remember. 3 things that determine water, soil, and vegetation. And any one of those three are present, it's a wetlands. My attorney, Maria, asked him about that, and he says, well, let me show you the law, Mr. Gamboa. Here's what the law says. Remember, we're just the law. You are governed by what the law says, not by what you think. And here's what the law says. All three have to be present, not just one of them. He read it from the law. Another statement he made, he was asked by my attorney, Mr. Gamboa, do you know ING? Let me get back to. Let me make a comment on that other statement he made. He's a wetlands expert. There's only two explanations for that answer he gave in court under oath. One, their wetlands expert is ignorant of the law. He's either ignorant of the law, and therefore this whole report should be stricken. Second, he knew what the law was and intentionally misquoted it to try to deceive the court. Only two possible answers. Which one it is, I don't know. Second thing he was asked, ING. Yeah, I know ING. ING important to you? Do they help define where wetlands are? Remember his answer? No, we don't deal with them. What does that mean? Trying to find that ring of truth. Here's a letter written by the municipality to Menai. October 17th, not long ago. And they asked Menai, tell us where the wetlands are. A simple question, right? They got all these reports they got out there. Let me show you the answer. Written from CNAC. Sent to all people there. And what's he saying? We can't tell you where the wetlands are. For that, you're going to have to go to ING. But Mr. Gamboa says they're not important. So what's going on here, Judge? These last two, one was the forestry guy. And one was the Oyahota guy. And here's what they had to say. And did any one of them say this? I don't think so here. No one has testified they saw anything, that we did anything we construed in a vague, ambiguous way as a crime. No direct testimony, no evidence whatsoever that they can produce. Now, I've heard this from both of these gentlemen over here. The Procurator said it. He said, Mr. Aven knew there was wetlands. In the June 19th hearing, the prosecutor said at least 3 or 4 times, Mr. Aven knew there was wetlands. Mr. Aven knew there was wetlands. You know what, Judge? The most profound statement of my innocence, that I'm not guilty of this crime, ironically, can't come from the lips of the prosecutor. It might sound strange, huh? Well, let me show you. In the June 19th preliminary hearing, the prosecutor dismisses a charge from me. And the charge was about, I was supposed to get something served to me. It was faxed to me. So here's what the prosecutor says. I can't charge Mr. Aven with a crime he didn't know about. His words, Your Honor. Do words have meaning? Now, if that's true, if this is the criteria, then not only didn't I know about it, but Your Honor, every document I have from government reports, from private reports, mostly governmental reports, and the permits say there's no wetlands. So it's not that I didn't know about this wetlands. I have been told by numerous reports that there are no wetlands. So if that's the criteria, not guilty, prima facie. That's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.